Hi ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a special treat for you guys because I don't do a lot of EJ stuff anymore. We have an EJ in the house. So today we're taking this STI from stock to stage 3, which is just boost controller, injectors, downpipe, intake, turbo, inlet, the whole kit and caboodle stuff. We have fuel rails, fuel lines, fuel pressure regulator, all of the fun stuff that we need to do. So I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's dive into it. So we have a 2019 STI. I'm sure you guys have seen this car on the channel before. I've worked on this thing in the past. Bags, AOS, things of that nature. You guys didn't see the AOS video just because I didn't like it. Over here, we've got boxes of goodies. So we have a nice Grimmspeed downpipe. She actually has, this is the fuel pump basket out of the Subaru when it was on E85. This just has a AEM 340 liter per hour fuel pump in it. We've got a boost controller. We've access port box that we don't need. Perrin turbo inlet, Cobb injectors, which are just ID10 or ID1050s, and then all the fun stuff. So I think I'm gonna start off on this thing first by getting the intake manifold and the intercooler off the car. It'll just make life a little bit easier to get to that downpipe. Plus, it'll give the exhaust and everything a chance to cool down. Intake's gonna have to come out. I also need to do some research on this thing. So when we go to do the fuel pump, I actually need to measure the ohms or the resistance on the fuel level sensor for the Subaru. I got the fuel level sensor in this thing to work. I just need to calibrate it, hence why there's just random blue and red wires going back there to the fuel level sensor right now. I need to wire that in permanently. But it turns out you can just wire in the gauge cluster to the pump, so that's kind of cool. I just need to figure out the calibration from full to empty on this thing. So we also have a dyno day set next week for this, so that way we can finally get it tuned and start driving it. We're not going to be doing any power pulls or anything of that into. There's so much spilt coolant in here, holy hell. We're not going to be doing any power pulls or anything like that. It's going to be wastegate pulls and break-in tune. That's pretty much all we're doing next week, and then we'll go back for the power tune stuff. But let's start tearing this thing apart. Totally forgot to do something, so I got this guy pulled out real quick. Melanie, will you start it for me? Just turn it on and let it run for a minute. I have to purge fuel pressure, so no. Fuse is out for the fuel pump.
How do you, I'm sitting in your seat and I'm not tall enough to do this. How are you tall enough? How I drive. I don't know.
Alright, just let it run. Just let it run. Just let it run.
Hey!
What do you mean?
What are you doing in the car? Sounds like we're making popcorn.
We're making popcorn, baby!
Bubbles, blow a bubble.
That sounds so good. I'm surprised it's still going.
Are you running out of fuel?
Yeah, I'm purging the fuel lines.
There you go.
Look at that. Alright, now start it again. Try to start it again.
Okay. Okay. My poor car. Hold my hand so you don't know.
It'll be fine. Alright, perfect. You good.
We're like holding hands.
That's it. We just had to purge the fuel system out of all the fuel out.
Tanner.
Take the back seat out.
It won't come out.
You're a big girl. You can do it.
It's stuck.
I'm gonna start tearing this apart now. I've been knocking stuff out on this. I've got the intake out. I've got the intercooler off. I'm taking the turbo heat shield off right now so that way I can go ahead and spray the downpipe with some PB Blaster and let it soak as I start working on some other things. But Melanie and Tina got the fuel pump out. Kudos to those two. But this is the info that I needed here. So I needed to know what the resistance of this fuel pump is, or the fuel level sensor, when it's empty and when it's full. So you guys can see that when the fuel pump is empty, or when the fuel level sensor is all the way down and it's reading empty, it's reading about 139, 140 ohms. Now, if you were to come here and you start to lifting this guy up, you'll see that it changes to about 8.8 ohms. So that's how I'm going to calibrate the STI, is because I'm still using this stock float, and by changing where this arm sits, it changes the resistance for what it's reading. So that's good info to have. So the two ladies are gonna go ahead and throw that guy back in because I'm not doing the fuel pump. Yeah, you're doing great.
Thanks.
You're doing great. And then while they're doing that, I'm gonna keep going to town on this. I just want to get the downpipe prepped. I might just do the downpipe first to get it done with. I do have to do this turbo inlet, so the manifold does have to come off, which means coolant has to come out of the car, because there's one coolant line that goes down right there in between the manifold, and there's some fuel lines and other stuff that goes underneath of it. It's just gonna be easier to pull this thing off as a unit rather than just leaving it on and trying to work around it. So we decided not to pull the manifold. We're gonna leave the manifold on. I just got the injectors out, as you guys can see down there. The death brackets, oh, I call them death brackets. They're the stupid brackets that cover up the fuel injectors. I never put these back in unless someone requests it. They get in the way, they're bulky, they're kind of unsightly, and they're annoying to deal with. The big concern that I have right now is I don't think that we're gonna be able to run fuel rails with the TGVs because we can't do TGV deletes anymore. I've got a set of injector dynamics fuel rails that we can like test fit and mock up real quick just to see, but I don't think that it's going to be able to clear this TGV with the setup that we have right now. I just don't think it's going to work. If I made fuel lines, I could run a 180 off of this and have it go that way, but we have pre-made fuel lines and I don't have the stuff to be able to make fuel lines. So I think we may end up just ditching that. We have Brian swinging down from the mod garage later. He's going to bring over the fuel pressure regulator and the fuel rails. He's also going to bring a Cobb fuel stumble fix kit as a backup that we can throw on here if it doesn't fit. So that is fun and exciting. Damn EPA making life more difficult for us, but it's all right. We can play by your rules. It's whatever. Next up, I'm gonna get this downpipe swapped over. I let those things soak in some PB Blaster for quite a while, so hopefully those bolts cooperate with us. So I went ahead and soaked all these guys down here in PB Blaster. They should cooperate now. The ladies also went ahead and got the fuel pump swapped over in here, so that's all cleaned up. The new AEM, well, the new Tatina AEM 340 liter is in there. Let's get this turbo inlet swapped over. Turbo inlets just perpetually always suck. I remember the first time I did turbo inlet literally took me all day, but got this one in. We have the recirc tube back in, got it all bolted up to the turbo down there, all the lines put on and whatnot. So turbo inlet's in, so that means I can go ahead. We've decided we're just gonna run the Cobb fuel pressure regulator kit instead of using the fuel rails and everything. It's not gonna clear the TGVs at the end of the day when it comes down to it. So it would work if I made custom fuel lines. It's just I don't have the stuff to make custom fuel lines right now. So let's get this manifold bolted back down. Let's get our new, actually let's open up our new injectors, which are right here. They're literally just ID 1050s that Cobb rebrands. So we'll get these injectors in, we'll get the pigtails put on, we'll get the intake manifold and everything bolted back down, and then we can jump to doing the downpipe, because I'm putting that off because I don't want to crawl under the car right now. So let's do all the topside stuff first. Holy hell, I got my ass handed to me by this TGV motor. That bottom bolt down there, you have to go like from down here. The coolant neck is in the way. It's just a pain in the ass, but all that's bolted back up. I'm gonna get the intake manifold bolted back down real quick. Once the intake manifold's bolted down, we can knock out the boost controller. I'm just gonna save the downpipe for last. We can do the boost controller, get all of our electrical stuff, everything put back together. We are swapping over to, where's the Cobb? We are swapping over to the Cobb fuel stumble fix kit. Yay, what is this? What is this for? Interesting. Okay, so it looks like we reuse the stock fuel. They used to give you just all brand new fuel lines and everything. You just hook it all up. So I guess we have to commingle out the old fuel lines and then commingle in this stuff. Interesting. We'll figure it out. That's different from what it used to be. But all right, cool. Subaru fuel pressure regulator for fuel rail kit. Interesting. Okay, we'll figure it out. Dope. Start putting all this back together. So, boost controller, just got that one installed, re-putting on the manifold, the TGVs, all that stuff. Melanie and Tina got us taco time while I've been working. Just got the boost controller in. It didn't really want to go in well because of that Perrin shroud guy. I made it fit, made it work. It's all wired up and all good. So boost controller lives right under the little Perrin cover up here. Got all the lines ran. The stock 2-port boost controller is right here that we will no longer be using because 2-port boost controllers can go blep on the ground. It's starting to look like a modified car now. The injector covers, all that stuff is all out of here. Before I can't, I have to build the fuel lines first. I said build the fuel lines, hold up. So we got this Cobb kit, and this Cobb kit is designed to work with Cobb fuel rails. So the only actual fuel line it comes with is this guy here. But I can commingle it. I had enough spare fittings. Tina and Melanie just ran and grabbed us some fuel line to be able to do this. I can build fuel line out of the standard size rubber line from AutoZone, utilizing these old Cobb fittings that I had sitting around. So, you know what, Cobb? If you don't want to sell us the parts, fine. We'll make them. So I'm gonna munch down on a burrito real quick and then we'll get back to it. All right, we're chooching right along here, dude. I got the fuel lines done. I ended up kidnapping one of the lines off of the stock fuel pressure regulator kit, like the stock one that came with the car originally, and using it for this Cobb one. The only main difference, I don't know if I still have a piece of plastic. The only difference between that Cobb one and this OEM, or the OEM one, was the fuel pressure regulator itself. The Cobb Fuel Stumble Fix Kit is just a GD chassis fuel pressure regulator. Instead of having that conglomerate of like 3 dampers like this, it just narrows it down to 1 and makes things work a hell of a lot better. So old fuel lines are out, new ones are in. All that's left at this point is to put the downpipe in, load the tune on, put the intercooler on. We'll go send it, bruh. Yeah. Now, Tina, you don't think I tightened down all your bolts? You don't think I tightened all your bolts down? Wow.
I'm trusting you. I got faith.
So this is what I ended up doing for the fuel pressure regulator. So I had Tina run to the store. I had a couple of these old extra Cobb fittings laying around that just clip right on. We just got some fuel line that's the same size. We're using the stock evap line, and then we're using the Cobb kit, which is the Cobb kit is supposed to be used with their fuel pressure or their fuel rails. But you can just cut off part of the old line, run it to there, and then they give you a line that goes to the firewall. So that is all installed. Everything else up here is buttoned back up, plugged back in, cleaned back up, and bolted back down. So let me fight with this downpipe that I've been putting off, bruh. You know, I get it. Sometimes mishaps happen from the factory at Subaru, but when it does happen, it's kind of annoying. Went to take the O2 sensor out of the stock downpipe, and it was cross-threaded from the factory, and it got mangled. So Tina and Melanie went down to Subaru to go grab a new one. But the stock downpipe's out. There's quite the size difference between stock and aftermarket. We're throwing on a Grimmspeed limited model, which has the porting for the internal wastegate just to help with flow and everything like that. But big improvement. I'm very curious to see how the car is going to sound. The car didn't sound terrible before. It was very like throaty, so it's probably going to be like throaty 2.0 now. New downpipe, nice beefy 3-inch boy. Stock garbage. Those actually sell for a pretty penny. You could probably sell, or stock downpipe sell for like 800 to like 1,000, depending on market conditions and whatnot. So while they're gone, I'm gonna go ahead and get this downpipe in. It's gonna suck getting that O2 sensor in once it's in the car, but for me to like keep going and knock this thing out today, it needs to get done. We have done quite the amount of work to this thing today. Downpipe, turbo inlet, boost controller, injectors, fuel lines, all sorts of goodies to this. I did the AOS the other day on this thing. So very excited to see what it's going to sound like after we get this downpipe on and get it burped and everything. It's got no coolant in it right now, but that's all right. We'll get there. Alright guys, so I pretty much have the engine bay put back together. We've got our injectors in, we verified no fuel leaks. I put some of the coolant back in. I did spill quite a bit of it, so you're probably going to smell more coolant in your engine bay, so that's fun. Yay. That's a good time. We got a new O2 sensor. Thankfully Subaru had one in stock, so we were able to cop that for this one. It happens, sometimes threads get mangled from the factory, but at this point, all we got to do now is Let's get this O2 sensor in, load the tune on, see how the car responds. I'm actually intrigued to see what it's going to sound like. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot throatier of an unequal length sound. But before we do that, I do need to talk to you guys about today's video sponsor. We've been having a lot of these lately, and it's a new one. So a company called The Build Sheet reached out, and this actually is a really cool website that I've been saying somebody should do for the longest time, where you can go in there, you can input your car, you can input like all of your different car modifications that you want into a specific list, and you can organize that list based off of parts that you still need to order, what's on your wish list, what's already installed, what you've already ordered but haven't installed, so that way you can track your build. Now keep in mind, this website is a work in progress and it recently launched, so keep an eye out for things that they got going on. They're working with a lot of affiliates such as MA Performance for all of your Evo and Subaru needs, ECS tuning for all of your Audi, Volkswagen, German, I think BMW, I'm pretty sure ECS tuning does BMW stuff also, as well as a lot, Cybon, if you're looking for some fun carbon fiber parts for your car. They have a lot of stuff going on over on that website. Like I said, it is still a work in progress and it is coming out for a final release, so keep that in mind as you go over to the site. Now personally, I think it's a really cool idea because typically in the past, whenever I've gone to plan out my builds for my cars, it's like, all right, like the Blue Brew is a perfect example. What do I still have to order? What do I still need to get? What's already installed? You guys have mentioned it in the past. I was shooting myself in the foot by not making one of these lists, and having a company that's coming out doing it all in one website for us where we can go in there, input our cars, do all of these different fun build things and be able to organize everything into categories is going to save, well, myself, I don't know about you guys, but I suggest that you guys check it out if you're looking into it. It's going to save myself a lot of time, especially with having multiple projects like the BRZ, the Evo, the STI, Melanie's GTI, which we haven't really touched quite yet, which we still have some stuff to do for it. But if you guys are looking for it, there's a link down below in the description for you guys. Go over there and check it out. Like I said, it is a work in progress right now, but it is set to launch finally later this month. So don't be like me and be unplanned for some of your builds and write them down on a piece of napkin that you got from the Denny's while you're eating your Grand Slam. Just go over to the website, check it out. Let's get this thing started. Well, let's get the O2 sensor and then get it started. You excited?
I'm nervous as hell.
Subaru go boom!
Subaru not go boom!
Subaru go boom!
No.
Boom! Boom!
No boom!
Subaru go boom!
No.
Let's load the tune onto the access port. Tina, grab me your access port. This lady got every single fucking tune Cobb ever made on here.
I didn't do it.
Well, you got them. Jesus. All right, I'm gonna have to update this thing. Beacon firmware update. All right, I'll check back in 4 hours when this thing's done updating because Cobb takes forever. We'll get the tune loaded up onto here, get it loaded up onto the car, and finally start this thing. If anyone at Cobb still sees this, please fix your website speed still. You fixed all the access port stuff for the EPA, just fix the website to run at a normal speed, please. I appreciate it. All right, we are all good to go. Sitting on the keys. It's not that there's so many keys. There's so many keys! Oh my god, there's so many things that make noise! 2019 STI ID1050X91 base map. Please wait while the access port generates files. Continue, because we don't believe in 10 amp chargers when flashing maps. We like to try to brick ECUs, don't we?
Sure.
You wanna brick your ECU?
No. I don't know. Do what you do.
You want me to brick your ECU? All of it's screwed. Oh my god. Oh my goodness! Everything we put on was EPA compliant. I don't know what I'm doing. That was a weird noise. Did you hear that? Continue. Why are you so nervous?
Because it's scary.
What's scary? All we did was put a fuel system, a basic ass fuel system in, and some basic ass downpipe. Literally no reason to fret. Shut up. Shut up. I have the key. I am the captain now. Look at me. I am the captain.
I'm scared.
Ah! That's louder.
Holy shit.
Try to tell me she's all nervous and whatnot. They're basic mods, baby. It works! Sounds good.
It does.
All right, let's go rip this thing around a little bit. Not bad. It doesn't feel fast yet, but it feels nice.
It definitely pulls harder than it did.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't feel like it.
Oh. Yes, that right.
Third gear.
I had it's short. That seatbelt though. Gotta fix that when we get back to the house.
Sounds really good though.
I agree. It does. It does.
Ooh, nice little pops.
Got to get some pops.
Nice little pops in there.
No, it does. That right there, when you hit that part, that is more go than it did before.
It doesn't feel like any go to me.
You're used to fast. You're used to karma. You're used to.
Ah!
Yeah, that's what you're used to.
Ah! This is why I turned that shit off.
So there is a trick. You just have
I know,
to
you
do
click and
that.
unclick 20 times. But people are like, why would you ever want to disable the seatbelt chime? This is why!
Because it never.
I have my seatbelt on!
Yes, that is very true. I told you this before we left.
I know! The BRZ was much worse. It would get louder and louder and louder and louder.
Really?
It was awful.
A little similar. I'm excited for the other. That's what I'm excited
That was nice.
I'm telling you, it definitely has way more pull than it did.
Got some nice burbles and whatnot in there too. Bam! Feels good, sounds good. Solid, you are good to do all of your polls.
Yeah.
For whatever you need to go do for e-tuning. So another successful transformation of a somewhat stock car to a somewhat more modified car. This one we essentially took it from stock to stage 3 today with the injectors. We cobbled together those fuel lines to make everything work for us. Drives fantastic, feels solid driving it. Just on the base tune alone it feels good. Like it doesn't get into like full boost. Max it, I think there's a cap at 10 PSI right now just until the tune gets built out a little bit more. I did try to hammer on it a little bit. And it just didn't, it wouldn't let me go past 10 PSI, but up to that 10 PSI, it felt fantastic. Everything, ooh, but sweet. I got stuff to do to the STI tomorrow. I got my cylinder 6 cooling mod in today. I got the Roger Clark Motorsport one. Honestly, for the price, it's the best one I've seen. It's like 30 bucks. And it's the highest quality I've seen out there of them so far. So we got that. We got to run the fuel level sensor. There's a couple other smaller things. Our tune is next Tuesday over with Mr. Josh Bader. So I'm very excited for that. But yeah, oh, and Evo stuff gets dropped off tomorrow. Front mount intercooler, charge piping, things of that nature. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you guys enjoy these little transformation videos of taking like stock cars and taking them up to somewhat modified, let me know down below. I will try to do more of these as I get more of them in. But it's always a good time. So if you guys like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver sign, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be, one of these corners, no idea which one I'll put it in quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.